And welcome back to Facts or Frauds. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and comment in the comment section. Now let's take a look at a couple Moorish sovereign citizens filing fake liens against judges, court officials, to the IRS.
Sovereign citizen duo accused of filing fake liens against judges, federal officials. The Metropolitan Correctional Center in downtown San Diego, seen in this UT file photo, is where Edward Deloach was detained while allegedly conspiring to retaliate against federal officials. According to an indictment, the liens, filed with the IRS, were in retaliation for a drug prosecution. According to the indictment, two men affiliated with the sovereign citizen movement have been charged in San Diego federal court with filing false liens against the properties of federal judges and law enforcement officers in retaliation for a 2019 drug smuggling case. According to an indictment unsealed this week, Edward Deloach and Michael Jones are apparent followers of the Moorish American movement, an extremist ideology that combines some black nationalist ideas with sovereign citizen beliefs that they are not subject to government authority and therefore don't have to pay taxes or obey laws. According to the indictment, experts say adherents are known to commit crimes, derail criminal proceedings or retaliate against authorities financially, a process known as paper terrorism. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, similar tactics are alleged in the charges against Deloach and Jones. The case starts with Deloach, 47, who was arrested in September 2019. At the Otay Mesa port of entry after authorities found him crossing into the U.S. with 129 pounds of methamphetamine and 22 pounds of cocaine. According to the complaint, the 107 packages were hidden throughout his Nissan Altima, in the rear quarter panels, all four doors, the firewall, front seat backrest, rear seat backrests, front floor area, center console, and air filter box. According to records, he pleaded not guilty to drug importation charges. His case moved slowly as hearings were delayed and his competency was questioned. He demanded the court refer to him by another name, Ajamu Abamidal Bey. It is common for adherents of the Moorish movement to take Africanized names. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, while detained at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, or MCC, downtown, he spoke frequently by phone and email with Jones, also known as Noble Phoenix Michael. According to prosecutors, in those conversations, the men conspired to retaliate against 11 federal officials involved in Deloach's drug case. The indictment states, using information from Deloach, Jones is accused of preparing Internal Revenue Service forms for each of the victims that place false liens and encumbrances on their properties. According to the indictment, Deloach at one point asked Jones to send him the forms so he could complete the paperwork, and other times asked Jones to file the forms with the IRS. The indictment states, in December 2019, Jones faxed 5 forms naming 5 officials to an IRS office in Laguna Niguel, prosecutors said. According to the indictment, the lien and encumbrance were intended to settle a debt the individuals owed to defendant Deloach for detaining him under color of law, which accrued at a rate of $1.5 million per day, beginning on the date of Deloach's arrest. The victims are identified only by their initials in the charging papers. Many of the initials match with the names of court and law enforcement officials listed on the court docket as participants in the drug case. Jones was arrested in July on charges of retaliation against a federal judge or federal law enforcement officer by false claim or slander, and aiding and abetting. He has pleaded not guilty. His attorney did not respond to a request for comment. Deloach was arrested on the same charges this week. He was arraigned in San Diego federal court on Thursday, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles, which is handling the prosecution. The allegations line up with similar documented tactics used by Moorish adherents. Like most sovereign citizen groups, Moorish sovereign ideology breeds anti-government, anti-law enforcement sentiment through its radical ideology which can inspire members to intimidate, threaten, and harass government officials and law enforcement officers. According to the SPLC's description of the group, Moorish sovereigns are also known to produce fraudulent legal documents which they use against perceived enemies, especially publicly elected officials they view as corrupt. Deloach's drug case is still underway. After several delays, U.S. District Judge Larry Burns ordered Deloach in June to be hospitalized for up to 4 months. Deloach's defense attorney was relieved, and Deloach was allowed to represent himself. Before she was relieved, the attorney wrote in a declaration that Deloach's mother and sister had years earlier grown concerned for his mental state, which they described as a nervous breakdown and obsession with the Moorish community. After a second divorce around 2017, he disappeared and moved to Mexico, the declaration says. Burns recused himself from the case in January for unspecified reasons. The new judge, the Juan Gonzalo Curiel, last week declined to dismiss the drug charges and found that Deloach was waiving his right to appear in person for the case. Mail from the court that had been sent to Deloach in the drug case, presumably to MCC where he is listed as an inmate, has been returned as undeliverable. Curiel further ordered the court to research the proposal of holding a trial without Deloach present and appointing a defense attorney to represent him. Deloach responded to the judge in a letter, ordering the court to extinguish and annihilate this case and all past, present and future cases within 7 days.
Now you see what happens when you file fake liens, fraudulent paperwork to judges, courthouse members, to the IRS. It's not going to work out well for you. Let this be a warning. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and share it to your friends. We'll see you on the next episode of Facts or Frauds.